Hello everyone, and good afternoon, and salam, and sat sri akal, adab hai. It gives me immense pleasure to be a part in the annual fundraising event of twocircles.net. I'm really deeply grateful to Kashif and of course the team at TCM for their work in journalism that they do. I'm also grateful to Turkish Airlines for agreeing to be a sponsor for today's annual fundraising event. I'd like to share my thoughts about TCM and then introduce Arfa Khanum Sherwani, who's amongst us as our keynote speaker today and has traveled all the way from India to join us and share some thoughts about what's happening in India. Firstly, all of us who are gathered here today share some common beliefs, have a secular upbringing, and believe in unity and diversity. Unfortunately, there is a lot of injustice going on all around us. We see this happening day in and day out. Sometimes we do find time to raise our voice, and sometimes we do not. More often than not, if something is not right, we think someone else will rise to the occasion and say or do something about it. Why? I think perhaps we think our voice may not have the required impact or effect. Khincho na kamano ko, and I'm sorry those who can't understand this part of the language in Urdu. खींचो न कमानों को न तलवार निकालो, खींचो न कमानों को न तलवार निकालो, जब दो मुकाबिल हो तो अखबार निकालो। यही काम किया है हमारे काशिफ साहब ने कि many years ago when he formed the twocircles.net, and that's exactly the space they are filling in. It is a voice for all of us. It is our voice. It's our conscience in print form. As a non-profit, it is a voice of the voiceless. And that is twocircles.net. Over the last 12 years, they have done a lot of wide-ranging stories, impactful stories. These stories needed attention, but they did not have the glamour or the wow factor. So they were not taken up by the mainstream media. Their stories, because of their coverage, led to more awareness, government action, follow-ups by other news media organizations, and surely resulted in empowerment to the marginalized communities. A few couplets from the famous Lucknow poet, Krishna Bihari Noon, which might reflect some aspects of the current socio-economic and political situation in India. जिंदगी से बड़ी सजा ही नहीं, जिंदगी से बड़ी सजा ही नहीं, और क्या जुर्म है पता ही नहीं, और क्या जुर्म है पता ही नहीं, इतने हिस्सों में बट गया हूँ मैं, हिंदू, मुस्लिम, सिख, ईसाई, पसमंदा मुसलमान, हाई कास्ट हिंदू, इतने हिस्सों में बट गया हूँ मैं, मेरे हिस्से में कोई बचा ही नहीं, मेरे हिस्से में कोई बचा ही नहीं, और जिसके कारण फसाद होते हैं, जिसके कारण फसाद होते हैं, उसका कोई अता पता ही नहीं। और जो आज के हिंदुस्तान में हो रहा है, जिसके बारे में आज बात करेंगी, कि सच घटे या बढ़े तो सच न रहे, सच घटे या बढ़े तो सच न रहे, और झूठ की कोई इंतहा ही नहीं, झूठ की कोई इंतहा ही नहीं, और धन के हाथों बिके हैं सब कानून, धन के हाथों बिके हैं सब कानून, अब किसी जुर्म की कोई सजा ही नहीं। ये आजकल हस्बे हाल हिंदुस्तान में है। I therefore thank twocircles.net for its work, because of which many issues have come to light and actions have been taken on those reports. I strongly feel that all of us should extend any possible support and assistance to ensure that India, a nation that has always committed itself to democracy, liberty, and diversity, continues to live up to the ideals of equality and justice for every one of us. In thanking TCN, I know it has been a tough ride for them in the past 12 years, but they have persisted and it has paid off. TCN has done it for 12 years, and there is absolutely no reason that they cannot do it in the next 12, no, 50 years. So here's wishing TCN not 12, but 50 more years of great success in reporting. And this can only happen if you and I, if your friends, my friends, our friends, and those who believe in these ideas and models today come together and support TCN, financially and with other resources as well. So thank you for this time and for me to share my thoughts with you. And now I will introduce our keynote speaker, Arfa Khanum Sherwani. Can you please come and stand next to me? So here is a quote that is etched in the museum, a wonderful museum in Washington, D.C. And I'll share with you now. The free press is a cornerstone of democracy. People have the need to know. And the journalists have the right to tell. Finding the facts can be difficult. Reporting the story can be dangerous, which he does every day. Freedom includes the right to be outrageous. Responsibility includes the right to be fair in reporting. News is history in the making. Journalists provide the first draft of history. A free press, at its very best, reveals the truth. Arfa Khanum Sherwani Sahiba is an award-winning journalist. She has been a news broadcaster for the last 18 years and currently works as a senior editor for news portal The Wire. I could have said more senior, but I can't because she's too young to be said more senior. She hosts a weekly show on The Wire, focusing on the issues of socially and politically marginalized communities. Arfa was involved with Rajya Sabha TV, the official broadcaster of Upper House of Indian Parliament, NDTV, for several years, and with Bollywood superstar Amir Khan on his TV blockbuster Satyamev Jayate. Arfa has reported from war zones such as Iraq and Afghanistan and survived. Her areas of interest are issues of social justice with special focus on religion and minorities. Arfa has won Senior Journalist Seminar Fellowship from East-West Center, Hawaii for this year and will be representing India in this seminar along with some other finer journalists from around the globe. Some applause for her, please. She was chosen as Robert Bosch Indian Media Ambassador to Germany for the year 2017 and worked on the rise of right-wing politics in Germany. She has recently been awarded the prestigious Sahitya Samman from Hindi Academy, the government of Delhi. And Arfa Khanum is one of the founding members of South Asian Women in Media, a body of women journalists of South Asian countries, and has been an elected vice president of the AMU Old Boys Association in New Delhi. She was invited to be a speaker in Global Media Forum in Bonn, city of Germany, along with some of the best minds in journalism around the world. Arfa is a TEDx speaker and is very often invited as a speaker to colleges, universities, think tanks, and TV panels on issues of politics, governance, public policy, media, and gender justice. She asks the most difficult questions and brings to life the most unknown, unseen, unheard stories to our lives. Responsibility seeks the truth and reports the truth as it is. The overriding responsibility of the media is to separate fact from fiction and to hold the governments and leaders to the exact same standards. We need journalists like her and platforms like The Wire and of course newscircles.net now more than ever before. Ladies and gentlemen, Mohtarama Arfa Khanum.
So just imagine the level of press freedom and the political freedom that we enjoy in India today, that a journalist, the minimum a journalist can do is, if there is an incident that has taken place, I will go and report about it. There is no bravery about it. There is nothing that I am trying to challenge any power structures, government establishment. The simplest thing a journalist can do is that go to that particular place, wherever the incident has taken place, you come back and report about it and tell your country and the world about it, that this has happened. But something as basic and as minimum as this is now construed as bravery, as per one definition. But the other definition is that by reporting incidents like this, you are threatening the establishment. You are trying to impact the power structures. So this is what I will try to tell you, that this village, and since we are discussing Hindutva here, Hindutva doesn't necessarily mean Hinduism. We are not discussing a religion here. What we are trying to say through Hindutva is the politics which is done in the name of Hindus, or if I be more precise, then the politics done in the name of Brahmins for that matter. So the other name for Hindutva would also be Brahmanism. The upper caste, or I would say the supreme caste of Hinduism, the caste order. So the idea of a Hindutva nation, a Hindu Rashtra, is a country like this village. So you don't necessarily have to declare or make an announcement to the world, or maybe make changes in Indian constitution and say that from now onwards we are not a secular, liberal, socialist, democratic country, but we are a Hindu Rashtra, we are a Hindu nation. But this Hindu Rashtra project is taking place one village at a time. And this is that village. This story is the example how a Hindu nation is going to look like. So you've already got an example. And I am just talking about this one village that I had the opportunity to go to and witness firsthand. So it shouldn't be surprising that these people are called Mewati Muslims. And if you typically describe them, they can't be actually called Muslims, like as per typical Muslim definition. More than 70% of their practices, their lifestyles, the way they are Hindu practices. They are not very religious people, they don't cover themselves up, they wouldn't even know much about Quran, Islamic practices, or even about religion. They used to be Hindus earlier, maybe 1 or 2 generations before, and they became Muslims. So much of what they were as Hindus hasn't changed. They still have panchayats and mahapanchayats. They still marry as per their gotras. You know what gotra is? Gotra is that life history, or maybe that family tree that Hindus follow, that you can't marry somebody 5 generations back. So they still follow gotras. They still follow more than 50% of Hindu practices. But for the first time, what I witnessed, that they identify themselves as only Muslims. And why did that happen? Because their Muslimness, or whatever remains of it, is making them lose their lives. So this is what it is. So I wanted to give you an example of how the Hindu village, a Hindu Rashtra is going to look like. Now, second question, which is a very important question, is also of rural economy. And before I talk about rural economy, people usually ask this question whether everything has changed in the last 4 years. Is it possible to change a nation which has been there? Even if you talk about the new nation that we created in 1947, which is 70 years ago. Is it possible to change a nation in just 4 years? I would say much of it existed earlier also. And the fundamental changes that we see today, if I can mark them, is that from 1947 until now, until 2014, what our elected representative and the governments and political parties used to do is that the divisions which were already there in our society, they would try and suppress them. They would try and work on the commonalities. Now the difference is that the politicians and the political party that is ruling India at the moment, governing India at the moment, is working not on our similarities but on our divisions. And the worst aspect of this whole story is that the people who are instigating violence, who are hiding and protecting and patronizing the accused, the people who are going out and killing people, the murderers, the rapists, are elected representatives. So this is a very fundamental change. That a guy you voted for, or you did not, maybe your neighbors did, now he is the one who's protecting the murderers, the rapists, the looters. So this is a fundamental change that I don't think India, at least in my life, that I've ever witnessed. My father tells me that even days right after the partition in 1947, and even the catastrophic incident that had taken place in 1992 when Babri Masjid was demolished, even the days were not so bad. But when he says that, it means that there was not this degree of mistrust, of distrust, of fear between the two communities. And he said this is alarming. Like when Babri Masjid was demolished, there was a historical mosque in Uttar Pradesh. There is a town called Ayodhya, and that was demolished because some Hindus claimed that Lord Rama was born there. So this was 1992. So even then, my father tells me that they used to think, the Muslims, that those people had pulled it down, that those people had brought it down. It hadn't even yet come to us people, me, you, him, her. We didn't know who did that. But now the people who are killing, raping, maiming, looting are just one of us. So this has come dangerously close home. And this, I think, is a fundamental change that in the last 4 years we've noticed. So when an elected representative protects and patronizes, instigates rather, these violent activities, violent actions against their own people, against their own constituents. We see a union minister garlanding those accused who had lynched a guy in the state of Bihar. And these people, when they came out on bail, and even bail was also facilitated by this minister and his people, when the 8 of them came out, they were garlanded in broad daylight. They were pictured doing that. So people who lynched a guy in the state of Bihar, a union minister who is also a member of parliament from that constituency, he garlands them, he facilitates them, he welcomes them. So this is the fundamental change that we see today in India, and what is different from 2014 to now 2018, and how far we've come. So these are important points that I wanted to make, and now come to rural economy. This has been completely, I wouldn't say yet that it has been destroyed, but there are very, very concerted efforts that we see today in India that Muslims should ideally leave the business of cattle trading, of daily business, of anything to do with rural economy. And imagine this is something that they've been doing for generations altogether. And in my understanding, that's all they know. If somebody who's been a cattle trader for the last 5 generations, and if you ask him to go and become a teacher, just tell me he does not have the education, resources, or access, or anything else. So which means you are totally disenfranchising people, you're disempowering them, making them alien in their own countries, and trying to also break the backbone of Indian economy. Because this is not going to happen just like that. They're trying to experiment in one village at a time, but at the same time, this is also creating havoc in Indian villages. I am witness to a few villages where I've gone, where these cows and blood cards and these are just roaming free and eating into the fields of other people. And the villagers, the farmers, they are not able to sleep. They stay awake all night in order to protect their crops. So students who are supposed to be appearing for exams, they are not appearing for exams, but protecting their crops. So this entire narrative, they're not, and the most unfortunate part is that much of this is going unreported. this is the worst part of this whole entire episode. Like this piece of video that you saw here, this should have been the norm. This is what each and every journalist should have been doing. But this is so rare, trust me. And that is why when platforms like The Wire and a couple of other platforms, when they do something, this is watched by millions of people. Because mainstream media now is working as the political cadre of the ruling dispensation. They're no more working like objective, free journalists, but like committed political cadre. So I think this is very unfortunate that we see today, especially about the elected representative part. Now I want to briefly tell you something about the recent arrest of the activists that we have just witnessed, and then I will come down to discussing the way forward, what we can do about it, and if there is a way forward. So I just want to tell you that why these activists are being arrested, who are these people, and what exactly is happening in there. So far we were thinking that maybe if the government comes after these activists who are incidentally are not Muslim activists, these are left-leaning secular activists who are working for tribals, who are working for Dalits, most of them are working for Dalits, and some of them are also working for religious minorities, including the Muslims. So to think of this as if the Hindu Rashtra project is only against the Muslims, I think this would be fooling ourselves. It has only begun with Muslims because they had to start from somewhere, and this was an easy thing. So they have just begun with Muslims because Muslims are a very obvious enemy. You live with them every day. They are your neighbors. They are your competitors. If they are not there in the business, then you might do better. If they are not taking the jobs, then you might get that job which that Muslim is holding. So this is like a very obvious sort of a competitive nature. Not that all Hindus hate all Muslims, but I think if you are automatically and naturally given a sense of supremacy over others, why not avail it? This is a human nature, right? Not everybody has that high sense of moral, high sense of ethics, or what you would expect every human to think like a human. I mean, you want a good life for yourself, and if this happens by eliminating someone, or if all of a sudden you wake up one morning and you are superior to your neighbors, then what's wrong with it? So this is a very simple formula. This has been practiced by many other societies, by many other leaders, and they have successfully, very, very successfully have done it. So I think I want to tell you about who are these people. There are about half a dozen people who have been arrested from different parts of the country. So basically the government wanted to create a spectacle. This is not something that we are creating, maybe the kind of reaction, the responses that the arrests have created, but they wanted to do it in a way that it created national and international headlines. And there is a motive behind doing that, because lately what was happening was that these right-wing Hindu organizations were found, there was a common thread that was found that 3 rationalists and 1 journalist, 4 of them were killed, and the police and the journalists were finding a common thread, that this was one organization and one political ideology that had killed all these 4 people over the course of 3 years plus, 3.5 years. And this story was actually beginning to be discussed and argued, and the government did not like it. And some of them were even arrested. So just to be able to take away the whole focus from right-wing violent ideology to now shift it to left. I'm not saying that left-wing affiliated violence does not exist in India. But this is just so obvious that these right-wing violent people are endorsed, protected, and patronized by the establishment. I have no hesitation in saying this. There is enough evidence. So these are the people who are working with the most powerless people, the most disadvantaged people, the people who have been living on the margins of Indian democracy forever now. So these are the kind of people like Rangbar Khan or Akbar Khan, and people like Dalit people who are being now violated, killed, and hounded and harassed. So these are the people, these activists, some of them are lawyers, some of them are human rights activists, and I would give you an example of a woman called Sudha Bharadwaj. She was born here, Massachusetts. She was a US citizen. And then she went to India. She studied here. She went to India to work for her people. And she limited herself to a small, to a state only and working with the villagers. And this woman was called woman of the people or people's woman. And there wasn't anyone in the village where she was working who would know her. And she adopted the same lower middle class, or I would say the lower class lifestyle. A woman who was born in America, who was brought up and studied here. She went there, taught herself. She then did her master's degree in law, and then started to work for people. And something very interesting that she introduced, which we usually do not see in India, is the public interest law. Law which is not just to make you a big lawyer and make you earn a lot of money, but also law that can help the powerless. The law that can help you access the Constitution. So basically the only difference and the bridge between the most powerful and the most powerless were these people. And they have a greater credibility amongst people, among the most powerless people, than probably our politicians today. So the Narendra Modi government is not very worried about what is going to happen in 2019, or maybe he doesn't still think that the political opposition is as strong as to give him a challenge in 2019. But he is certainly very, very scared and very, very conscious of the fact that these are the people, the activists, the writers, the poets, the journalists, which are giving the real opposition to this government. And that is why these people are killed. Yeah, so I was saying that in a democracy, we don't ask questions. It is called dictatorship. So there is no democracy without accountability. And I think the most important work these people were doing, these social activists, was asking the questions that the government has no answers for. So when you ask a question which cannot be answered, so merely the act of asking a question becomes a crime, and you become a criminal. And that is why dissent is being criminalized in India. I want to just read out a quote from Sudha Bharadwaj to just give you an idea. And this is not the quote that she made in 2000, in post 2014 days, but actually pre 2014. She said, and I quote here, "We are fighting for a new Chhattisgarh. Here is a state rich in resources. It has water, forest, and land in abundance, but its people are so poor. The state is witnessing disproportionate growth, and there is no equitable distribution of benefits to everyone. If I am fighting for the marginalized communities, I have no choice but to fight against those oppressing them. From corrupt politicians and forest departments to companies not giving proper wages and safety to workers." So she is now showing her commitment to what she's doing, and this is a quote about 8-9 years ago. So I think these are the people who are so committed with their work, and this is why the government feels nervous that if they have greater credibility than in the political parties amongst people, then the whole entire scene is going to change. People will rise and challenge the government. So before they do that, let's arrest them, let's put them behind bars. And if you do that with 10 people, I'm sure 10,000 others will automatically self-censor themselves. They will silence themselves. So this was just sort of a signal, a symbolic act by the government by jailing these 5, 6, 7 people in order to warn and alert other 10,000 people who we don't even know. Because these were the people who had an international reputation. These were the people which the government knew will automatically make headlines. So this is a very well thought out action that they did. And another thing I think is very important is also to understand that when you try and put somebody in jail, Indian judicial system is very, very faulty. Especially the law courts are very corrupt, very inefficient. You can't trust them. And for them to now go through lower courts, go through law courts, it's going to be a harassment in itself. It's not, these are the stages before being killed. Now these people will not be able to do their usual normal work that they're supposed to do, of helping out people, of doing the social work that they were doing. And in people's view, if somebody is charged with something as serious as sedition, as anti-national activities, as in order to even prepare a plot like killing the Prime Minister, because they were accused of preparing a plot to kill the Prime Minister. I mean, we thought he was the strongest leader that we've had in Indian history, but we didn't know he was so weak that he could be killed by, say, about a dozen people or less. So we started off 2014 with politics of hope that we were supposed to get new India. Now from politics of hope to politics of fear. Everything is in danger in India. Everybody is fearful of each other, and they all are fearful of the government. Now last bits I want to say before I run out of time is what we can do about it. The picture is dark, it's gloomy, gray, everything. But I think I would want us to go back to 2006 and 7 when, first of all, I want to introduce what such a committee is. I'm not sure how many of you have heard of it. So such a committee was instituted by Prime Minister Manmohan Singh in 2006, and that came up with a report in 2007 that said that Muslims in India are even worse off than Dalits, the untouchable people in India. So in the last 40 years, they've been discriminated and violated, and there's been this systematic discrimination against them, that they are worse off in many respects. They're worse off than Dalits. And this actually sort of made me to register for my PhD, and I did my PhD on the same subject. I have done a comparative study of Dalits and Muslims in India. I've taken a case study of Aligarh district. It has about similar number of Dalits and Muslims. So I tried to study what had happened. But what I'm trying to tell you is that this was for the first time that the government used the word Muslim, and they were trying to do a research on Muslims, which was very courageous of the previous governments. Not to deny that whatever they had done in the last 40 or 50 years, I'm not trying to deny the crimes that they have committed. And on purpose how they have kept Muslims below the poverty line. But still their credit is due, we should be giving them credit. So I think that created a lot of public advocacy, like a government document creating public discourse, even on, say, a village choraha, even in small towns, even amongst women groups, very, very poor Muslim groups. It created a lot of awareness. It sort of, it helped awakening Muslims. And they started doing grassroots advocacy. I think it's time to go back to which post-2014, since the crisis is so strong and it is existential in nature, that we are running for our lives. So what happens is that the other battles, other socio-educational, economic battles, they suffer. I think it's time to go back and empower yourself. Because I was reading somewhere, a very well-meaning, left-oriented Twitter person, he was saying something, and a right-wing troll was saying something nasty to him, and he was like, don't think of me as a helpless cattle trader that you can lynch. So by this he means that I don't belong to that socio-economic background that you can just get me and kill me. So I'm saying the only way out can be just to elevate yourself and try and do something about your socio-educational and economic status, so that you go beyond. You are not so vulnerable that they can easily get you and kill you. They will eventually kill you inevitably. But I'm saying at least try your best, and that way you are trying to uplift your community and one part of your country as well. I mean, remember, Muslims are an indifferent part of India, and if there is Muslim upliftment, I would say that is Indian upliftment. You shouldn't be saying that this is only Muslims who are being empowered. This is India that is being empowered. The poor people of India are being empowered. They're given education. So let's look at it from that point of view. So that is very important. Another thing is that how do we respond to the violent incidents that are taking place? So this I was talking about socio-economic, educational upliftment, which I think I should have discussed a little later, but then let me just come back to it. That on this side, people are collecting themselves, making groups, then they come to you in groups and try and kill you, beat you up, rape you, loot you. I think there have to be counter groups as well. Not to rape, kill, maim, or loot, but a response mechanism. Because this is a reality, we have to live with it. And by response, what I mean is that as soon as somebody is raped, killed, or looted, there has to be a battery of lawyers, activists, social scientists, and journalists who report about them, who take them to police, who take them to hospital, and fight their cases. So there has to be this response mechanism that these people are forming these kind of groups, and we know the establishment, the government is not going to come to our rescue, so we form our own groups. So this could be a response to the violent incidents and attacks that we go through. Last point I want to make is what do we do politically? So I told you the response to the violent attacks. Second is the socio-economic, educational upliftment, and third would be to make alliances. That's the only way out. I think that the time to live in our own shells, our own echo chambers is over. Make alliances with like-minded Hindus, with Dalits, with tribals, with Sikhs, with laborers, with farmers, with everybody and anybody who is on the receiving end, who is marginalized, who understands what you're going through. And that's the only way forward. I would say in the post-2002 Gujarat riots, they were all well-meaning liberal Hindus who came forward and fought for the Muslims. And I'm sorry to say, I see it very, very less in Muslim groups that they come forward to help Sikhs or Dalits or tribals. And in a way, we try and project ourselves as a very selfish community, where we want all the attention, sympathy, and everything when it comes to us, but we hardly go out. We hardly show empathy towards other groups who are facing violence and discrimination, maybe sometimes worse than we are. So this is our time to show solidarity, and this is a time as a nation to stand for Dalits, for farmers, for laborers, for women, for tribals, for everybody. This is a time to stand for India as one people. Thinking of news websites when he started up this website. And whoever I met, I used to work with NDTV then, and whoever I met was doing even a single story on Muslims, the first stop for that person would be to go to TCN and find out what's happening. This was such an easy thing for journalists to finding out, otherwise nobody really reports on Muslims in India. Like, there is no journalistic beat called religious minorities or Muslims for that matter. So I would really want Kashif Saab to go back to that era and stage and do as nicely, and probably we all are with you. And I think you're needed more than what you needed in 11, 12 years ago.
Yeah, the situation is much worse.
It's much worse, and you're needed more than you did so many years
But
ago.
you talked about making an alliance.
Yeah.
So TCN started as a platform for Indian Muslims, but we have graduated.
Right.
We are covering more Dalit issues. We want to cover more Adivasi issues. In fact, TCN is the only news organization that has an editor, a Dalit woman.
Wow.
Unfortunately. And we have support of the Dalit community. In our board, which is again consists of Muslims, Christians, Dalit, what we are trying to do is cover more, and it was a journey for me as well, understanding that our struggles are connected. Right? When we were talking about fake encounters, and Muslims, as a Muslim, we are outraged, but we didn't realize at that time that Sikhs were being encountered in 90s, right, 80s, and tribals even now are being encounters happening left and right. So we need to talk about issues, right? We shouldn't think that there's Islamophobia. There is a Hindutva, which is a talk that we're going to be talking about tomorrow in Long Island. If you have friends in New York, tell them about it. There is that element definitely, but also the state itself is very oppressive against marginalized communities. They don't care if you're Muslim, Dalit, living in far corners of Northeast Kashmir. Right? There's extreme violence that's happening. So we want to bring those stories, and being a non-profit, it makes it easy for us to do those stories, right? Because we are not returning profit back to our investors, right? We are, as a few years ago we had this tagline, delivering news, not profit. So it was important. Our mission was news. And also the reason we go back, and people always tell me that, oh, why don't you monetize? Why don't you commercialize? Like, what does that mean? That means now you're accountable to an investor or advertiser. I'd rather be accountable to the community, stand in front of you and say, this is what we have done. And then you have the right to ask questions, why you have done this way, that way. Of course, not all questions or answers will be, satisfactory, but we are human beings and we're trying. That's important. The other thing is, as a part of TCN, we have trained our community members to become journalists, and they have gone on to a bigger organization. Like, for example, your current editor, Siddharth Vatharajan, he hired somebody from TCN, Muhammad Ali. He didn't go to journalism school. He was just basis on the report they had done.
He hired him for the Hindu.
Yeah, for the Hindu. He was writing front page stories and
it's a media giant. It's a giant newspaper in India.
And Muhammad Ali.
So he began his career from his website, and he actually made it to the Hindu newspaper.
Yeah. I still remember the day he came at that time we used to have a small office in Patna. He came in for interview. I was like, this guy, and he was very energetic and enthusiastic. Today he's in New York. He's in Columbia University. He got admission to do that based on the work he has done. And he kept that Dadri issue alive by focusing and reporting constantly from there.
Mehta.
Mehta was also one of our ACL. Yeah. No, that was Muhammad Ali.
So another guy, Mehta, he is now the Wired's executive editor for the Wire, and the same guy who was trained with him first. And he went on to now become executive editor of the Wire.
So that is an impact. Of course, that's not possible without your support. But this is something that's the people who know me, it's very difficult for me to fundraise, very difficult for me to ask money. So what we have come up with a plan which is called Board of Patrons. Can you go to the last slide, Arfa? Thank you, Arfa. And where are my, yes, Paul and Rizwan bhai? Where are you? These are my two assistants, two lovely assistants. Right. So it's not just me. I know I've been the face of TCN for a long time, and the reason, I am a very publicity shy person. Really, you wouldn't believe it, but it's true. The reason I put my name and face out there was because Muslims are very afraid, and I don't know, you're thinking you're afraid now. It was the case under Congress, right? Especially the terrorism issue. Like, nobody wanted to talk about. So we were out there. I put my name there. But now we are a 501c3 organization registered in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and we have a board consisting of Zombai, Paul, and Wally. Unfortunately, she couldn't be here because she was traveling and she has some medical issues, so she couldn't be here. She has a video, but unfortunately, because we're running out of time, so we couldn't play it. So she has taken over as video editor, and I said this is like first time that any organization, where that woman is, and she's the boss for editing the stories. Even if I suggest, it has to be approved by her. So I'm not like trying to bypass or anything. My job is to build the organization, get more people in, kind of develop the vision, what we want to do next. As Arfa said, much needed now. So we want to refocus and see where we should be, and also support by fundraising. And this is also important. Of course, what Wire is doing, Squall is doing, but they're based in India. It's very difficult for them. They had lawsuits. They had to fight for publishing articles. Us being in America is much easier. And it's not like we haven't gotten police notice. We have, but all we say is, another lawyer's present here, we say, you have no jurisdiction over us. We get notice from Mumbai police, Delhi police, UP police, and this is what our standard reply is, that we have no jurisdiction because we're based in America. So that allows us to do the things that if you were based in India, we couldn't do that. So we'll encourage you to come support, and we want you to come at this level. Of course, there are other levels as well, but really it helps us to get a sustainable way to really support the organization. So of course, you're helping us by providing news from the community, and we are really big on reporting this. Opinion pieces are much easier to do. but reporting is really hard because there are travel, there are expenses involved, but we always, since the beginning, focus on reporting. Because that changes the narrative. You have somebody on the ground that you went, for example, talking to the community, talking to the individual person. That changes because you cannot deny that fact, right? Being there on the ground. You can try to twist it based in Delhi and social media, but that thing is important. So that's what we have from the beginning. So you train that. Second, your training of the journalist. Providing employment to the community members, right? So we have community members, Muslim, and she was going to talk about, so since Wali has come in, we have a lot more Muslim women actually join. We always had at least one, not token, we had one, always, but she had more. Now there's a news desk that's operated by Nikhat, she is based in Hyderabad. So those kind of people, they are being trained. So, Rizwan Bhai, you want to follow?
So, let me welcome each one of you and let me give you a big thanks, especially on the long weekend. You spare your time, especially on this one Saturday, and spending time with us talking about the TCN and journey of TCN and how that is impacting, especially media landscape back in India. That is kind of, you heard journey in the last 12 years. Mostly it was individual efforts of Kashif and his friends and family. Mostly he is putting his money. And let me put very frankly, being the treasurer, I can tell you with full certainty how much it cost. Altogether for every story, bare minimum it cost $30 to $33. Because we used, still we are sending like our journalists on ground so that they can get embed in community and get news rather than simply a bite that you go and put your mic in front of anybody and try to get whatever you want to listen. So basically, if you will read this in a story, you will find very balanced, more like a storytelling, and that is not sensationalizing anything, trying to be more objective so that we can tell the story in the rightful manner with full sensitivity as any community would like to see, either it is a Muslim, Dalit, woman, and not simply putting praise or lens as the mostly main media stories tell them, like in the poetry platform. So it all costs money, and I would like to ask for money. I don't feel shy because as you heard from Arfa that these important story needs to be told to the whole world. And running website-based news media outlet, it helps to reach out to the global reach. But in fact, it costs a whole lot because we are not only waiting for news feed from somewhere else. We send our journalists on ground to gather information. So I would really request that as we have two different model board of directors as well as patron. Patron is like 1,000 is commitment.